From Cornwall to Birmingham and Johnston and Bexhill, here's Ruben Spar on the radio.
Oh, hello to Jessica Magoch. How are you today?
Hello, Ruben. I'm awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for letting me interview today. Can you tell me how long have you been a singer-songwriter for?
I've been a singer since I'm a little girl, like 4 or 5 years old. But actually didn't start songwriting until like my early 20s. That was when I guess I finally had something to say. So that's when I started songwriting. This was mainly like vocals and piano. I took piano lessons all throughout school from like 5 years old till 18 years old. And then I studied musical theater too. So all of that kind of led into finally creating my own music. I did a couple things in high school, actually, as you asked me that. I'm like, actually, one of the first songs that I wrote was for my high school band. So I had like a project where I wrote a song, I wrote out all the pieces for the entire band and then conducted it. And so I learned a lot about musical composition in that project. It was like an independent project that I asked my teacher to do if I could do for my credit. So that was a really good experience. It kind of taught me I'm not a big fan of arranging music. It's pretty tedious, but I love the initial creation of the song and like the inspiration behind the lyrics and the melody.
So, can you tell me about your award you got in 2019, the PHL award?
Yeah, so that PHL is for Philadelphia. So I entered into a contest that is run by David O, who was the councilman at the time. He's actually running for mayor right now of Philadelphia. And he started this whole initiative to support emerging artists in Philadelphia and to encourage them to stay in Philadelphia. Because the problem is like there are not enough like resources or opportunities or connections in Philadelphia for musicians. So they'll either go to New York or LA or Nashville. But that wasn't true. Like back in the day, like Philadelphia was, I mean, hip hop and R&B and like jazz, like so much of that emerged out of Philadelphia. So he started this initiative. So I entered the contest in the jazz category, and they narrow it down to like 5 finalists. And so each of the 5 finalists in the jazz category went and competed at the Clef Club for Jazz, which is very old jazz club in Philadelphia. And it was actually the home of the Black Musicians Union in like the 40s, 50s, because they had like a segregated union at the time. So many amazing musicians have like been there, played there. Like the energy is really awesome. So it was really cool to play there. And then they had the award show at the World Cafe Live, and Moo Fresh was the main entertainment that night. She's a hip hop singer, amazing also. And then they announced the awards and we won. So that was really exciting. They gave us a cash prize which I used to help, fund the initial parts of the album. And they gave them some recognition. Like they gave us, actually, I have somewhere framed a citation from the city. Like it was very official and very nice of them to do. So that was really exciting. I asked them after, why did you pick us? Because the other jazz groups were like so polished and so refined and so well educated, like masters, and like they would have master's degrees in music, and they were just amazing. They all deserved the award. And he said it's because your group was improvising, and that's essentially like what jazz is improvising, and like that excitement, what happens in the moment. And he said like that you're what jazz needs. Like we need people like you to keep jazz alive and keep it fresh and current. So that was really exciting and motivating for me to go like, oh, okay, I did have like a bigger mission now to not only just like share my music and share my stories, but like to help like this genre that's so important in our culture to stay alive.
So, Kenny, what kind of instruments do you play on your new debut album?
So I do all the vocals. So that's like my main instrument, my voice. I play piano and trumpet.
So, can you tell me more about your debut single from your debut album called Is It Bad That I Want You?
So that was the second single that I released from the album. And that's actually has a little different like musical style to it. I would say it's more on it has like a driving 4/4 rhythm, which is not very typical of jazz. But I think people like that song because it has like such a variety of rhythms and sections in the music that are changing throughout. And it's supposed to represent like the stories about the contradiction and the push and pull in a relationship. So like if anyone's been in a relationship where like you weren't supposed to like each other, whether it was like your supervisor, in a work relationship where you're not supposed to be dating, or, someone you're just not supposed to be romantic with. And so you have this battle, and then one person like wants to break the rules, the other person doesn't want to break the rules, and that's what the song's about. So I think the music reflects that, like this push and pull, and then a release, but then like a push and pull again, and then a release. So, so that's out on all the streaming platforms right now.
So can you tell me more about your debut album called Trivial Pursuit, released on October the 13th?
Sure. So Trivial Pursuit is an 8-song album of I sell 8 luscious lip smacking tunes. That's a mix of swing, retro swing, and pop. And it tells the story of contradiction. And really, I think what's so interesting about people is that contrast, right? Like the things that are like they are don't necessarily mesh together in their psyche or in who they are. So that's what I like to write about. So that's what the songs are about. And if you can listen to the album from beginning to end, that's how it was written. So I think you'll enjoy that way. The songs are a combination of stories like from like since I was in high school till now, because I had some time to make up for, being that this is my debut album. So it's quite a variety.
So can you tell me, what was it like going into the recording studio?
I was incredibly nervous because Joe Nicolo is the producer, and he has like 13 Grammys. I would just like very, very highly esteemed in the music community. He just got entered into like the Philadelphia music like Hall of Fame, or whatever they call it down there. He did the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. He did like all of these DJ Jazzy Jeff, and like a lot of the 90s hip hop albums came out of his studio. He did Billy Joel's River of Dreams album. So I thought, oh, I'm going to bring my stuff to him and he's going to be like, what's this crap? I was like so self-conscious that he would even, like it. And him and I got along great. He has a studio that's like a garage on his property. So go out to his studio. He's got like all this cool memorabilia. I was just like drooling over. It was really fun to be there. We spent a lot of time like figuring out the song. And, at first he was like, oh, he kept calling it like, it's like kitschy. Like it's just like fun and playful. And I was like, well, I didn't really intend for it to be fun and playful, like it's a love song, it's like a breakup song, like how can we work on this? And so I initially, but then I think after like the 3 days that we worked on it, it grew on him. So he was like, you know what, this song's been in my head, and I think we got something here. So he had his band come in and do the backing, which they were all like incredibly talented. They just like that, just backed up. I mean, I basically just gave them some chords and said, play with this. And so most of that was improvised on the album as well. And then I got to sign his this beam in his garage. I was the first person to sign it because I said, hey, you should start collecting signatures here. It looks like the perfect spot to collect signatures of people who have been in the studio. So I got to be the first person to sign there.
So are you going to be working on any new music in the new distant future?
Yes, always. It never ends, right? So I'll probably, after this album, I'll probably continue releasing singles. I really want to do like an a cappella jazz album, where it's like my vocals layered on top of more of my vocals. That was my favorite part of creating this album, was layering the vocals, and creating these like really interesting and fun harmonies. And so I would love to like have some of that on, like when I was doing this album and I would cut everything out except the vocals. So I was like, oh, like this is a song in itself. Like it doesn't even need all the other stuff. So I would love to revisit and put my own spin on some of those albums in an acoustic a cappella version.
So can you tell me more about how's an independent artist for you?
How is it being an independent artist?
Yeah.
It's like running a small business, right? Like you do everything. I create the product, which is the music, and I sell the product, which is the music, and wrangle in people to help you and kind of coordinate schedules and get everyone to ready. And I wrote an email out to my my email list today of like people that have graciously agreed to accept updates from me on my email list. And I said, an independent, as if you sign with a record label, they're going to have millions of dollars to do marketing on a campaign. That's how it works. You get lots of eyeballs on it. Then when it comes on release day, you need to have a lot of listens in order to build the traction and to grow on the way that the music industry is today. But as an independent artist, it's really the fans who are the marketing label in that regard, because whether you have a label or not, it's all about how much the fans stream the music, how much people listen to it. Because then it triggers the algorithms to say like, hey, people like this song. Let's add it to all these other playlists and get other people to listen to it, because they just want people to have a good experience on their platform and keep coming back. So really like the listeners are really in charge of like what gets heard. And I think that's great news for the music industry. Whereas like prior to that, we were fed what other people thought was good music through, public radio. But as an independent artist, it's like really like gathering up that momentum from people to listen. And I'm happy to have like a smaller group of people who are raving fans than to have to be this like mega worldwide, success. I emulate artists like Caro Emerald, who like, if you know and love Caro, you're a big fan of her. And if you don't, then it's just not your type of music, and that's okay. So that's kind of how I see my career unfolding.
I think it's all about sharing your music.
Yeah, absolutely.
So where can my listeners find you on social media?
So the best place to find me is on Instagram at Jessica Magoch. It's Magoch. On Facebook, Jessica Magoch Music. On TikTok, Jessica Magoch. And that's pretty much it. That's the best place. Then my website is jessicamagoch.com. If you sign up for my VIP list, you'll get all kinds of updates and make sure you hear about all the special freebies and stuff that I give away for my email list.
Thank you for letting me chat to you today.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
And I wish you all success.
Thank you, Ruben.
And enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Bye.